Hello, we're going to learn some Portuguese today. Finally, we're getting a Portuguese show starting. Started, and falar português, falar português. Well, let's learn some Portuguese tonight. It's kind of like those nights, you know, that Portuguese, it's like that Friday night thing, you know. Join me for it's just an hour. This will be an hour, and we're going to set things up. So it might be a fun show. It's the attitudes I have with Portuguese. Come on in, share, invite your friends, get a drink, whatever it is you do on a Friday night. Let's just get in. Let's get into this. Let me adjust the camera here and always be, focused on the star. So just let me get that going here for you. Okay, don't mind me. It's a Friday night. It's fun. It's a fun night. I try to make things fun. It's a hard thing, really, for a guy like me. Just look at me. But in any case, we'll try our best. We have, since we started the Polyglot show series, we have yet to do Portuguese. And Friday night has always been, well, a busy night and whatnot. So, but every week is different, right? So, but today we're able to do it. I haven't done any of the other broadcasts at all today, if I'm not mistaken. So, and we might as well get one in at least for today. So let's do this thing. Like I've done in the other languages and other shows. Again, the purpose of the show is it's almost like to be a dummy Portuguese. I don't have to try to be that, but to like Portuguese for dummy type of treatment, approaching the language like a total nincompoop, and trying to trip our way and bang our way into a language and acquire some and trying to break down the barriers of acquiring a new language and extending our language base a little bit. It's a good thing to increase your cognitive ability. It's a good thing to try to stave off Alzheimer's and dementia. So for most of you, this is a great little show. It's a great gift. It really is. And you should gift it to yourself and to your families. So, yeah, join me, and it's a free gift to you. So it's an hour of expanding our minds just a little bit and learning a new language. So join me. In Portuguese, I got some things with Portuguese. I got stories here, so it may be funny for some of you, but just join us. Now, what we've done in each of the shows is that the first thing we do to set up the language show is to set up our browser. We have a browser session saver, and it's really handy to save the sessions, so that each show has its own session, and that way every show is practically ready to go when we get started, and we just go through our resources and just continue developing each show as we go along, as we progress along or trot along, whichever way it is. And we haven't done that yet for the Portuguese one. For this one, it's the first show, so now we'll explore some resources. So the way it happens. Let's get into the different resources here and see what we can find to um, start learning Portuguese. So let's go there right now with me for a moment. Yeah, okay, sorry about that. I had to move a cable that was in the way. Alrighty. Alright, so I'm taking now the Italian one we did the other day, and we're going to uh, uh, change the search for for our languages as Portuguese. What I'm searching for here, again, everything I'm doing, you guys can do yourselves at home, after the show or right now with me as I'm doing it. So we're looking for Portuguese words. Oh, I'm sorry, we did the wrong one, right? English words. English words of Portuguese origin, which should be interesting if there are any. Very interesting. And just for our education, list of English words of Portuguese origin. So we have a Wikipedia. We'll go over there, and we just give a quick look at that. This is a list of English words borrowed or derived from Portuguese or Galician Portuguese. This list also includes words derived from other languages via Portuguese during and after the Age of Discovery. And the Age of Discovery, the Age of Exploration, is an informal and loosely defined term for the period in European history in which extensive overseas exploration emerged as a powerful factor in European culture and which was the beginning of globalization. So, um, Portuguese are often in a creative, in other Romance language, their imports from Portuguese are often in a creative shorthand called Lusitanianisms, a word which has fallen out of use in English linguistics, no kidding. As etymologists stress that few additions to any non Iberian Peninsula languages date to the era when the Lusitanian language was spoken. Loan words and derivations predominantly date to the Age of Discovery, when the Portuguese spoken at sea was, according to many accounts, the most widely understood tongue, lingua franca, of the Indian and Atlantic Oceans. Since the most of the seafaring, Portugal being right there at the sea, many Portuguese let's say ships from Portugal. That was a site of disembarkation. Well, I shouldn't say that. Embarkation, a point of departure for many ships. Um, so it seems that it would fit, wouldn't it? Um, that the language the would in it would affect or would stick with mariners or sea men from all over. So let's see what type of words they have. We have here. We have Akai. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right. Akai. Let me do something. This that little thing is in a Portuguese. They use that in Portuguese language. Gee. But I'm not getting uh, my little speaker here. Let's see what I can use. Okay. So I'm gonna have my things ready. Acai. Acai. That's the way it is. Let's hear it.
Açaí.
Acai. Acai. Okay. So that's the acai. Okay. And then Ainhum is a painful constriction at the base of the fifth toe. From Portuguese, based on Yoruba, Ayunhom. Let's just hear this pronounced. Sorry to freak you guys out with those pictures there. It says Gaelic here, but
Ainham.
and it's probably not the way it's said. It's said in Portuguese. Again, he doesn't want to do it in Portuguese. Very, very fussy. Albacore. It's from Arabic. Albuquer, the young camels, and so that looks like it's this should be also of Arabic. Sorry, it's not the coronavirus, guys. I just had a poppy seed, is it, or something? What they call it, the black seed on the Biego. So it looks like that got stuck there. Now, so the albatross, under influence of the Latin word albus. Albus is white. So albino from Latin albus, same idea. Ama from Portuguese, ama, nurse, housemaid, and that's from medieval Latin ama, from mother, ama. And it's Portuguese again, since it's borrowing a lot or it's developed from the Latin, a lot of Latin that you've seen so far. That means that Spanish is very similar, would be similar, and I think, and there's a lot of differences, but more or less the Spanish or and gives you a good start with the Portuguese. Sorry about that. And I've always said, I've gotten big laughs whenever I said that Portuguese, at least Brazilian Portuguese, was there's a difference between Brazilian Portuguese and the Portugal Portuguese. I've always said that if you speak Spanish horribly, if you enunciate Spanish horribly, you will be speaking Brazilian Portuguese, which usually gets a good laugh from people who speak Spanish and have heard Portuguese speaking, and they can hear the similarity, but to a Spanish speaker, it mostly sounds like a mispronouncing Spanish, like you completely like a dumb, a dumb, you know what, and speaking Spanish, and that's how Brazilian Portuguese sounds to a Spanish speaker, or at least a Puerto Rican. So, and not that Puerto Ricans speak good Spanish either, but to us, that's the way it sounds, the perception, because of the words, how they're pronounced in Brazilian Portuguese, and it seems like you a person is trying to speak Spanish but has some type of speech uh, ailment or speech impediment. That's the word I was looking for. Speech impediment, a twisting of the tongue, and this and that, and that's how Portuguese sounds to a Puerto Rican. Okay, so but the ama is perfect Spanish. We say ama de casa, And here it's the same thing. The Portuguese would say ama as well for the for directly here as a housemaid. Okay, so and that is basically what it means. So it's the same pronunciation actually. And hinga from Portuguese, from the Tupi ayinga. Hinga is something called snakebird American darter, and water turkey. So these guys start trying to fly off the water, and they seem to be darting. Basically, that type of bird. Añil. When you have that little tilde there, the little squirrely mark on the end, it makes it nya nya. Añil, añil. And this also has is through French and from the Arabic al Nili and Persian Nila, ultimately from Sanskrit. So this is a what you call a PEI, and so that's what you have. Auto da fe. Auto da fe was the ritual of public penance of condemned heretics and apostates that took place when the Spanish Inquisition, Portuguese Inquisition, or Mexican Inquisition had decided their punishment, followed by the carrying out of the civil authorities of the sentences imposed. Auto da fe. Auto da fe. A judicial act. Auto da fe. It's an official act, but it had to do with because that last word, that last syllable, it means faith. So this would have been the Inquisition. Yes, like it's trying to highlight that this is something that has to do with the faith. The faith being the Roman Catholic faith, were the ones who imposed the Inquisition, and so this judgment was referred to in relation to faith. The Inquisition, in terms of the English word Inquisition, is also it's inquisition, it's inquiring, it's challenging on the faith of the person. That's what it actually was. So then we see in the Portuguese here a the same type of relationship, in terms of this is the punishment that came from from this challenging of the faith for so and so. So auto da fe, and the auto in our English we would look at it as like automatic, and but that I don't think that's what it is. I think in the my guess that in the Portuguese it may be uh, the word for act, act of faith, or like it's like the act of the court, right? About faith or concerning the faith. Auto, auto, and I say that only because it doesn't make sense. Auto as in automatic, but it does make sense if it's a poorly spoken Spanish word for acto. So acto, poorly spoken. See, it's just a stupid way to look at it, but we'll go with it. And because of the many times, the many instances where that's what's actually, well, not actually, but that's the perception it fits. And I think this may be one of those times where it fits. And so that's what I want to look at now. Let me. It says self of faith. The self of faith, but I don't think that's really what it means.
Auto da fé.
Auto de fe.
Auto da fé.
Auto de fe. And for that, then I'm going to open another search here for auto de fe. to see possible etymology with it. Auto de fe. And you see that? See the definition of, you see what it says here? See, my little Portuguese for Dummies is not that bad and not that off the mark. It says here the definition of auto de fe is a medieval Spanish term for act of faith. See, acto. But again, like I said before, the Portuguese seems to have a tendency to be spoken like bad Spanish, like something's missing, you're not pronouncing something. And it turned out to be exactly right. So my guess was exactly on the money, right? This is pretty much what happened for my guesses. And is the name of a public ceremony held during the Inquisition when convicted heretics were sentenced and executed. Burning someone at the stake is an example of auto de fe. Okay, and it's an act of faith, and it was an action taken because of faith. This was an inquisition. This was something having to do with faith, and this penance, this carrying out of the penalty, was an action um, due because of a question of faith. And that's what auto de fe is, but it's the auto in the Portuguese is really means act. So it's the Spanish would say acto de fe. The Portuguese say auto da fe. Okay. So that proves the point there. We need to go no further with that. And that's why I like checking the stuff. I like to make my guesses, but checking is quite satisfying. Okay, Ya, Anglo-Indian native nurse, children's governess from Port, originally from Latin avia, etymologically related to the English uncle. Sorry about that. I'm sorry about my coughing. It just started really after, especially after that bagel that I just had. This is showing the Indonesian, but we see that in the Indonesian, interestingly, that the Indonesian has, it is also familiar. The ayah in Portuguese has to deal with like a grandmother or a native nurse, someone taking care of others, and could be the family of a family member referred to as the grandmother. And then here we see that in Indonesia, it actually is a reference to a father, a dad, a parent, an old man, usually the male, the paten, the pop. Which is interesting that some part of it is like preserved. It's almost similar in meaning. Banana from Portuguese of African origin, akin to Wolof banana. I don't know how to do that. We got to do that. Let me see something here. If I can get a
banana. Banana.
none.
Banana.
Okay. Banyan from Portuguese, the Gujarati Banyan from Sanskrit vanish. Doesn't tell you what it is. Baroque from Barocco, is unshapely. It says unshapely. Barroco. Now, in music, Baroque music is what Bach uh, did, or many others, Corelli, and many others, Telemann. These were Baroque. That's the Baroque period. It's what we when music became very ornate. Anything with a complicated design can be Baroque, but it also refers to a style of art, music, and architecture from the 17th century Italy, and it is then sometimes capitalized, but for the same reason that it is complicated design. It's not that it also refers as much. Some people will read this and say, "Oh well, it's anything with a complicated design can be Baroque." But it says it also, like if these things do not share the characteristic already described, and most people would read it that way, but that is untrue. It was called Baroque music because it had this complicated design. It was part of an era, a time when everything like when they were building the cathedrals, it had a very, very ornate work was done. The furniture was chiseled and very ornately. The Bibles were as you know, hand written and drawn by monks, and it was very, very ornate. This is the Baroque. This is the Baroque period of time, and music became more ornate. Before this, and going through it, but before it, you had the plain chant, as you will. The music was more plain, was more, so that type of music. That was what you heard in the cathedrals or in the churches, and then the Baroque period came, and then everything started getting very complicated and ornate. And then the music started bouncing around too. So the music started, you had the terrace dynamics. This is a musical term. I'm going to get into that. You had la fuga, which is Italian, meaning that it's running and the music starts running away from each line. It starts going and blah, 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 blah. So you had ornate music because of this philosophy, this style that pervaded all of society. And it really was a reflection. If you really think about it, it was a reflection of the development of cognitive development, actually cognitive development. This is the Baroque brokered in the classical, and then and then you had more. It started the path towards more modern type of musical forms. But there's nothing like the Baroque. The Baroque is really ornate and in its nature. So that's what it was all about. So it's not that it was a separate thing, it's the same. Although it has roots in the Portuguese word barroco, meaning imperfect pearl, not everything baroque is imperfect, right? So again, yeah. So if they used it to say something that was not plain, it wasn't, because a pearl would be totally smooth, and so it was something that was plain, not plain. It was and they used it, I guess, in reference first, probably, and we have to see. They should have the times that this was done in relation to when it was applied to art and whatnot, or architecture, stuff like that. So, but that's what's missing here. I guess a little study on that would be apropos, and probably someone's already done it some places. We haven't just seen it yet. Bossa Nova. Bossa Nova is a style of Brazilian music which was developed and popularized in the 1950s, 1960s, and is today one of the best known Brazilian music styles abroad. The phrase bossa nova means literally new trend or new wave. Okay, so that's bossa nova. For our educational purposes, let's look for some on YouTube and hear what that's about. Hey, I'm live. Look, learn Portuguese with me. Bossa nova. Bossa nova. Let me. I'm going to look for. I'm just curious what we get. Ancient Baroque aria in Bossa Nova by Franco Tenelli. So this is what we want to listen to. This should be something when they called it first Bossa Nova. So let's hear that. All right, new wave, Bossa Nova. Again, without a historical reference, it's kind of hard um, to locate Bossa Nova. I'm going to try to, after another example, I'm going to try to get some type of timeline because this wouldn't be something that was just Bossa. Let's hear some of this guy's album here. This is Sinan.
Like very outgoing, compassionate. She has.
Estou morrendo de saudade e deu uma praia sem fim e você foi feito pra mim. So again, it's the rhythm. The dun, dun, dun. You can look at it as a type of jazz. It's very jazzy in its sound. So yeah, and but what you have here is you have someone here in Portuguese actually. He says a bossa nova na verdade cantar país que não existe mais, infelizmente. This is probably Brazilian Portuguese. It says it here. Era Brasil das décadas da 50, 70. De qualquer forma, é estilo musical conhecido e reconhecido mundialmente. Pero toque suave, dolce, que ainda hoy encanta los oídos de quien tem bom gusto. Esse ainda agrada porque tem muita qualidade, how do you say that? Qualidade las letras no toque musical. Y no toque musical. So again, to a Spanish speaker, it sounds like very bad Spanish. A bossa é o melhor estilo musical do nosso Brasil. Tem as melhores letras e as melhores harmonia. Embora, I don't know what HJ is, em dia não tem atentos cantores. Continúa vivo ese estilo musical maravilloso. So again, like in Spanish, that would be maravilloso. That se continúa, que viva continuadamente ese estilo musical maravilloso. But again, in the Portuguese, in the Brazilian Portuguese, continua vivo ese estilo musical maravilloso. So it's like mispronouncing or having some type of problem in the enunciation. That's how close it is to Spanish. I can get away. I can read it. Everyone knows I'm not a Brazilian. I'm not a reader of Portuguese, but I understand what they're saying. Simply it just looks to me like this is somebody really doesn't know how to write Spanish, but I can tell that they have some. They're trying to. So that's how it looks like to me. All right, so basically that gives us a little bit of something for us to have in our consideration. Okay, I'm not gonna do all of those words now. We gotta continue working out on our resources. So we can try these top Portuguese words you definitely need to learn. The 10 most common Portuguese words pronounced by native Portuguese. This is mondly.com, so let's take a look at that. Portuguese language is one of the most exotic languages in the world, and its beauty lies in its words. The Portuguese language is estimated to be made out of a total of 250,000 words, with the largest Portuguese dictionary having over 171,000 words. This can seem a really big and frightening number to someone wanting to start learning Portuguese, but here's the good news. You only need to know roughly 5% of the total words to be fluent in Portuguese. Oh, we didn't know that. Well, that's very interesting. This means that focusing your efforts on learning the most common Portuguese words, you will be fluent in Portuguese in no time. That's fantastic. So 5% means a measly 8,000 words. 8,000, measly. So if we learn, let's say, 2 words a week, we'll only need like 4,000 weeks to become fluent. But you guys can learn more and do it every day. This can see, okay, so what's even more encouraging is that knowing as little as 100 words helps you understand half of the words in an article or book written in Portuguese. Very good. Like I said, I know more words than that because I know Spanish, and I can get through a Portuguese article, I can get through a Portuguese book, and pretty much know what they're talking about. I would have to look up like a few words here and there, because they do call things differently than we do in Spanish. Even their Bible has different words for things in Spanish. So, I would have to. It's what is that? That's not what it says in Spanish. It's that type of thing because they're using a totally different word, and it's interesting what they focus on. They chose words that, like for example, the one I'll never forget because that's funny to me is that in the Bible in the New Testament there's a teaching or an admonition against wearing the hair the women for women wearing their hair in a very ornate style that the women should not be so like pride and have a proud and have vanity, that vanity thing with the woman. You know how the Bible is. So and so in Spanish it tells them like otencioso, not to have your hair in a I forget how they say it in English, but in other words, it's not to have that ornate your hair made so ornately like that. Now, the in the Brazilian Bible, in the Portuguese Bible used by the Brazilian Christians, they because and that happened because one night I was at a friend's house. They're Brazilian. Oh well, his wife is Brazilian. He's Cuban. The wife, we were talking about that subject, about I guess women and vanity and what they should wear, what they shouldn't, this and that, blah blah blah. But we were just having that as a topic that came up in just random discussions and talk. And so, and then she's quoted from scripture in Portuguese because she's Portuguese. Everything she's going to say is pretty much Portuguese. And then she says pelo, and she's reading, or she's reciting from her memory that it's a pelo frisado. And I'm looking at her and I'm trying to figure out pelo frisado. Frisado. I'm just saying because it doesn't make sense to me because what the word they're using is in Spanish it's frozen. So they're using the word frozen, and I'm trying to figure out where does the Bible say about frozen hair? I don't understand. So, but again, that's the difference. That's one of the examples of the differences. That's what makes it a little complicated, even for a Spanish person, to figure out what's going on here, because the certain words they will change according to their understanding. So they don't. Apparently, they wouldn't use what happened to Brazilian. I can't speak about the Portuguese. I'm gonna have to make an analysis of the Portuguese Bible verse that has this word and the Brazilian one to see if those two are different. But like the Portuguese would have used barroco, pelo barroco. Okay, and I may be totally wrong on that. I'm just saying if they use the word barroco as on the word ornate that we would use ornate, then that's what the Portuguese would have used. But the Brazilian, they wouldn't use the ornateness. For them, it's not an issue of ornateness, and probably is because what is that? What is ornateness? They would better understand frozen hair because when you prepare your hair and this ornate hair, it wasn't meaning that it was laying flat down. It meant that it was all up and braided, and designed and fluffed up and made into something, so that the hair would have to be frozen, into shapes or into a design or whatever. So it's interesting to see that that's the word they use for that, for what English would have as ornate. They would have a very simpler, and I don't mean to be disparaging on them at all. I mean, there's no reason for that. Just simply that they use the word, a very simplistic word, to describe ornateness, and was frozen. Frozen. So, el pelo frisado. So anyway, so learn the most common 1,000 words, and you can get a 75% understanding of text in Portuguese. Also, each new word you learn helps you guess the meaning of up to 85 words you have never seen before. This means that knowing only 1,000 words helps you guess up to 85,000 Portuguese words. Doesn't seem that frightening now, does it? I guess not. Okay. So then they got some words here that they gave us. This is manly.com, and these are Portuguese words. Hola is hello.
Olá.
Hola.
Olá.
Hola. Huh? Hola. Felicidade. Felicidade. Now, also when the Brazilian, when I hear them pronounce these words, there's kind of like a J in some, like the D. Felicidade. Felicidade. Or felicidade. Let's see how this pronounces it.
Felicidade.
Yeah, you see? Felicidade. So they have this like a G in there, or J sound in that, with that D, and more that second D than the first one. Felicidades in Spanish is happiness. It also means greetings, or felicidad, congratulations. In Spanish, we'll use it. Felicidades, we're happy for you. Congratulations, felicidades. Um, we use it a lot in Christmas time. I think you hear a lot. Felicidades. So it's happiness, I guess, and joy. Uh, holiday joy, something like that. We will use felicidades en las navidades, because happiness during the Christmas time, stuff like that. So that's when we'll use that, and they have it as just happiness. The same thing. It's going to be used the same way, but the sound we would not pronounce it that way. We say felicidades. We have the plain D. The D is D. That's it. No other ghost sounds there or anything else.
Felicidade.
Felicidade. Okay. There you go. So that's what you. But again, if you're Spanish, you say felicidades, and then you hear somebody say this.
Felicidade.
You're looking at them funny. I mean, is there something wrong with your tongue, or something? You don't know how to speak, or you have a speech impairment. That's why I say that. People laugh at me when I do that. They have this. I call it. It's probably Italian. It could be Portuguese. Ciao. Oh, but this is not ciao. This is something else. Let me hear how they pronounce it.
Cão.
Ah, that's different.
Cão.
Cow,
Cão.
cow,
Cão.
cow.
Cão.
It's not like cow. It sounds like it ends in like an N.
Cão.
Cow.
Cão.
And obviously there has to be some similarity to canine. We use canine, right? Canine, canine, and they may have had some similar origin.
Cão.
It's interesting that they say count. Here we have brasileiro, Brazilian, brasileiro, I think it is.
Brasileiro.
Brasileiro, Brazilian. This is, and then the thank you is obrigado, obrigado,
Obrigado.
obrigado. Okay, so that's how you say thank you in Portuguese, but obviously Brazilian Portuguese. They have amor, the same thing in Spanish.
Amor.
Amor, same thing in Spanish. Gato is cat in Spanish as well.
Gato.
Gato. So very same thing. Now in English, in Spanish we use sonreír, sonreír for smile. Sonríes. They use sorrir,
Sorrir.
sorrir. So again, a slight difference from the Spanish to the Portuguese.
Sorrir.
Sorrir, sorrir. And here for yes they use sim, si, and we use si without the m in Spanish. Si for yes, and they use sim, sim,
Sim.
sim. Remember for our Korean guys, right? Shay. Okay.
Sim.
Now, adios is goodbye. Adios. Adios in Spanish. Yeah, the gringo Spanish style. Adios is the Spanish way to say adios. Adios, goodbye.
Adeus.
Adios. Okay, so that was fun. All right, so those are the main words. This was like what? The top 10 cool and common Portuguese words. So a lot of them are very close to Spanish. So by learning these in Portuguese and in Spanish, you are learning two languages. Now, we're not giving a Spanish polyglot show, by the way, but the fact is, you're picking it up at the same time with this. All right, let's look at what else we got here. We're still putting things together. So we got that. Now we got that. Barocco, which we don't need any longer. That was just a search. Um, Fluent U. We don't need that for this. And we won't need this. This says a translation directory. I want to see if this is only in one language. Let's look at the glossaries here. That's forbidden. I've been underneath. Why, when I want to look at you face to face, it's not good, but if I can see underneath, it's okay. Translation directory. And it says, obviously, these are people who provide translation services. There are probably some instructors in here. I don't know. It's a very old-fashioned website. What I'm looking for are some of the dictionaries. So they got translators, job forms and forums and whatnot. So I'm not seeing anything here. We're looking quickly. Obviously, I'm gonna have to just look at this with off screen at when we're not broadcasting to see if there's any resources that we can use here. So we'll leave that be for now. This is a list of English words. We already got that for the Portuguese. We'll leave the translation here. Let me just go and let me just change this around first. And let's just change this from English to, and let me put in Portuguese here. And just have that set up. Do they have it here? Even? They have to have it. I'm pretty sure they do. I'm surprised I don't see it. I am surprised. How is that? So let me just type it in. They have to have it. It's not on that. So here we have it. So they do have it.
Conexão.
Conexión. So again, the difference, like in Spanish, conexión would be the CON and well, conexión, CONEXION in Spanish. But and then you have the N. They seem to pronounce the N as like the count, the for dog that we saw previously. There's no N, yet the sound is there. Here again, there's no N at the end, but the sound of the N is there. So it must be that this A all together at the end has an N, an invisible N. I'm telling you, there's an invisible N there. Who would know? Who created this language? I mean, how can you imagine having an N there? So this is one of the mysteries that I'm going to be looking to solve in the following subsequent gatherings that we have. Openculture.com. Let's see if they have Portuguese here so that we can put them to good use in Portuguese. And they're not in this main list. Let's look at the old languages and see if it's there. And see if we can. Ancient Greek, Arabic. So, they got a full listing here. That's good. This is the first time I had to look through this like that. So, hey, it's a good thing. They got all these languages here. That's not bad. They even got English. Okay, Persian, oh my, Finnish. French, pardon my French. And there are a lot of French resources there. German, that we know. The Foreign Service Institute, Greek, Hebrew, very nice. Hindi, Hungarian, Icelandic, Indonesian, Irish. They got a lot of stuff here, folks. A lot of free resources. All of these are free resources here. Look at that. Look at all these languages here. They have their iTunes pod languages, which we've never done on our shows, but they're good resources for you guys to try. The Duolingo we did the other day with Italian. What was it, Italian? Yeah, and we had fun. They have a game-like approach, so they have that. So let's start the course here, and again we'll do the basics. And which of these is a woman? A mujer. Mujer.
Mulher.
Mulher. And homem. Which of this is a man? Homem.
Homem.
Homem. Now remember the Italian was uomo. Uomo. Oh, this is homem. Very good. Continue. One of the criticisms I have, they don't let you repeat the sound. Which of these is a boy? A menino. Menino?
Menino.
Menino. Okay. And we continue. Soy un hombre. I am a man. Very good. You are correct. Yeah. No,
Eu sou menino.
Eu soy. Eu sou. See, I would read it soy. Oh, look at that.
Sou.
Eu sou
menino.
menino. So, yeah, and you could always repeat it.
Eu sou menino.
So they here in this exercise, you can repeat the whole line or word by word.
Menino.
And they give you the possible usages of using that word eu. Eu sou menino. I am a boy. Good job. Yeah, I know.
Eu sou uma mulher.
Eu sou uma mulher. Now that's I am a woman.
Eu sou uma mulher.
Mulher.
Eu
sou uma mulher. I am a woman. I am invincible.
Uma mulher.
Uma, tap what you hear. Uma mulher. Yeah? Okay. This is fun. I got 5 XP. I've earned 15 XP today. Look, Ma. And I got I lingered. Nice job reaching your daily goal. Continue. 2-day streak. Okay, so that means because they remembered my last time I was here. All right, guys. So again, this is Duolingo.com. They definitely have Italian. They have the Portuguese. Who knows what other languages are here? Probably a lot. So this is definitely a place to go. Instead of playing a game that just you're killing and blood all over the place and guts, but you still remain stupid. This game, at least you have learned something after just a few moments, and your brain actually you create more neurons in the brain, and you get smarter. Wow, amazing, eh? If you play those other games, you just stay stupid and probably get dumber over time. But if you play this game, you speak more languages, and you probably make more money. Isn't that good? How much money you made the last time you played the game? All right, let's moving on. Moving on. All righty. So Duolingo. I'm sorry about that. We still have to go on to other things. At Foreign Institute, Foreign Service Institute, we have a course, a Portuguese programmatic course. And they give you instructions there. They have a lot of stuff here. These are audio. There's text here, obviously. So Unit One text. Let's see what that does. We get a text, and it's really right there. Everything is there. This probably has to work with the audio. So again, I'll look through these things during the week and in preparation. So what else is here? Tá falado. Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation for Spanish speakers. This would like be an easy breeze for me, that one, right? This is a video introduction to the language, probably YouTube based. These are greetings here. I run Adobe Flash. Oh yeah, that one is all right. And so these are people speaking to each other. And we'll see how that works here. Oh, well, that's spinning around. At least we got a nice picture to look at, huh? Eu sou uma mulher. That's we have to do the speaking because the video's taking time to load up. And then this guy says, Eu sou um homem. Homem. Huh? Well, I'm sure on your computer, I guess it will work better over here. It's having an issue. But again, they have a lot of resources here, so you can. There's a listen and repeat essential phrases here.
Olá.
So I guess we're having better luck with the audio.
Bom dia.
Bon dia is good day.
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde means good afternoon. And they say boa, we say buenas tardes. They say boa. You see, like again, it's a speech impediment.
Boa noite.
Buen noite. And we say noche in Spanish. Buen noite. In German, Nacht. Huh? I don't know how to say good in German yet. But anyway, Nacht.
Como está?
¿Cómo está? Same thing in Spanish. ¿Cómo estás?
Muito bem. Obrigada.
Muito bem. Very good. Obrigado. Remember, obrigado means thank you. Muito bem.
Obrigada.
I'm sorry. Let me go.
Muito bem.
Muito bem. So it's muito. We say mucho. They say muito. Sim? Muito bem. Obrigado.
Obrigada.
Obrigada.
Muito bem. Obrigada.
Obrigada because she's a female. Obrigada. If the guy was saying that, he was saying obrigado, I'm sure.
Obrigada. Obrigado.
See, when he says it's obrigado.
Adeus. Obrigado. Adeus.
I can't.
Obrigado. Adeus.
Adios. Okay, so she's saying goodbye.
Ciao.
He says ciao. Now, ciao is the same thing in Italian, means goodbye. All right. So the time is going on. I see I've been here for an hour already. An hour has passed. So we've run out of time for the broadcast. You guys are tired. You want to do something else with the missus, so I get that. I'll continue to be looking for resources for the next show. And when we get back together for the Portuguese show, we'll be getting started. Although we did do something today. So thank you for joining us today for the Learn Portuguese with me on the Polyglot Show. It's been a real pleasure for me to bring this to you, these resources so you can increase your abilities to be romantic on a Friday night. Speak e falar português com tuo amor. Muito bem. Muito bem com tuo amor. Falar português. Ok. Muito obrigado. Tchau.